Hello and welcome coders to the Sky Coding. This is chapter 7 and in this session we will see MySQL conditions and operators. So without wasting any time, let's get started. And till the previous session we have covered all of the CRUD operations and some advanced level of queries as well as insert ignore. So the link for previous sessions will be given in the description box. You can watch from there. So we will cover all of the conditional statements which will be just very helpful whenever we will learn that MySQL clauses. Okay, so let's start this MySQL conditions. Okay, so we are having these conditions which I have written here: and or boolean, like in any exists, not null, is not null, between. We will cover all of these operators. Okay, so let me write few points here so that you can just remember those points and your concepts will be more clear. Okay, so let's write for operators, as we call these things as operators. Okay, so basically what is operator? So basically operator helps you to handle the group of data and you can just apply some of the expressions with the conditions to those operators. Okay, and you can use any of the operators, logical, numerical, or you can use the conditional statements as well. Okay, and basically these operator will just help you to search for particular information, search for info in the table. Okay, suppose that you want to fetch some particular information from the table, then you can use these operators for fetching the particular information from the table. Okay, and they will also help you for sorting, you can call it, or you can just call it as a searching of the data as per the user's requirement. Okay, and they will just show you that required information by the user and they will just avoid the unwanted information. Okay, and you can just overall you can call it as you can get the information with the condition and you can just apply any of the pattern matching there. Okay, so you can just search for the data and you can call it search or sorting for the info in the table. Let's write here data in the table, that will be just looking good. Okay, and it just display required info and it will just avoids the unwanted data. Okay, unwanted data it will just ignore. Okay, so let's get started and let's do the practical for these operators, then your concepts will be more clear. Okay, so for that let me create a separate database. Create database, as we are just in the chapter 7, so let's create the database with chapter 7. So database created, so let's use chapter 7, use chapter 7. So database is used as well. So now we will just create a one table, then we will just perform all of these operators on that table only, instead of creating separate tables. And we will just create a simple table and we will just use all of these operators in that table, then you will better understand. Okay, so for creating a table, let's search for the old query. So we are having this employee table in the previous queries, and these scripts are just uploaded on my GitHub account, so you can get out these scripts from there. Okay, so this is for chapter 5. Okay, so you can get out these things from there. Okay, so let's copy the metadata from here instead of creating the table and just wasting the time in the video. Okay, so let's create the table. So now table is created successfully. Now let's insert some data. So we have inserted successfully this data and let's check the data, then we will perform these operators. Okay, select asterisk from employee. Okay, employee. Okay, and let's refresh the schema and let's see, this is the database chapter 7 and we are having the table as employee. Okay, so we are having this data 100, 101 and 102. Okay, so let's see that how can we use the and operator here. Basically we use just and operator is used with select, insert, update or delete statements to test between two conditions. Okay, of the individual query. Okay, so let's write here used with, use the select, or you can use with insert, or you can use with update, or you can use this with delete as well. Okay, so let's see that how can we just do that thing. Okay, so suppose that you want to fetch the data from this employee table where emp department is analyst and employee name is Aman. Okay, so you want to see those data where employee name is Aman and employee department is analyst. Okay, so suppose that I am just having some dummy data and we are having just only one employee Aman here and MP department is analyst. Oh, so how can we just fetch that data? Okay, by putting two conditions. Here we are just putting two conditions, as employee name should be Aman and employee department should be analyst. Whenever these both conditions will be true, then you will get the data. Okay, so for that what you have to do, you have to write the query select asterisk from employee where emp name is equals to suppose that Aman. Okay, and whenever you will execute this much of query, then it will show you the data for Aman only. You can see Aman only. Okay, and it is not showing any of the data of any other employees. Okay, so and our requirement is to get the data for where employee name is Aman and MP department is analyst. Okay, so let's insert one more data with employee name Aman, and this time we will just change the department from analyst to software engineer. Okay, so let's insert one more row 103, and let's give the name as Aman only. Okay, and let's give the name as Aman only, and let's give the location to Delhi. Let's give Bihar. Okay, and let's give the salary as 40,000, and let's give the developer. Okay, let's give the department as developer. Okay, so what we will do, we will just insert this much of data. Okay, so let's copy the insert query from here and let's paste here. Okay, and let's remove the extra spaces, and let's give here semicolon. Okay, so let's insert this thing, and you can see we have inserted successfully. Let's check the data in employee. You can see we got this Aman, and now our requirement is to get the data where employee name is Aman and where department is analyst. Okay, where emp name is equals to Aman and emp department is analyst. So for that we will just use here AND operator and emp department. Suppose that I want to get the data for analyst department. Okay, so it will just show you the data for this 101 ID, because here our both conditions are being satisfied, where employee name is also Aman and department is also analyst. Here only one condition is going true, that is this one, employee name is Aman, but here department is just a developer, so this will be just false. So this row will not be shown here. Okay, as here these conditions, both conditions are being true, so it will show you the data for 101 employee ID. So let's execute and let's see. You can see we got 101 employee ID, because here employee name is also Aman and department is also Aman. MP department is also analyst according to our requirement. Okay, and suppose that you want to check for the department developer, then it will show that row. Okay, you can see we got this time for developer. Okay, so by this way you can use the AND operator for just fetching the data from any of the table. Okay, so this is for AND. Okay, so let's write here this is for AND. Okay, so now we have done. Okay, let's write after comment. Okay, so we have done for and now we will see that how can we use the OR operator. So for using or basically or condition also specifies that if you are just taking two or more conditions, then one of the conditions from these two conditions must be satisfied. As here what we are doing here, our both conditions should be true. Okay, if employee name is Aman and department is developer, then only that if both conditions are true, then the query will fetch the data from that required if data is present in the table. Okay, and if you will use the OR operator, then if any of the condition is being satisfied, then it will just show you that data. Okay, in AND both conditions should be true, but in OR if any one condition is true, then it will just work. Okay, so let's write here OR. Okay, one condition should be satisfied. Okay, one condition should be satisfied. Okay, so for or we will just simply copy this query from there, and we will just simply paste here. Okay, where employee name is Aman, and this time we will just see or MP department is developer, or we will use some another columns. Okay, we will see for employee name is Aman, and or you can say AMP department is developer. Okay, if one condition is true, then this will fetch the data. So let's run this and let's see that differences. Okay, so you can see whenever we are running this AND operator query, then we are just getting one data, means one row for employee ID 101, because here this employee here, let's change this to analyst. Okay, and let's check now. Okay, so here you can see whenever we are just executing this query where MP department is analyst. Okay, so let's correct the spelling for analyst. Okay, analyst. Okay, and let's execute. Okay. You can see whenever we are executing this AND operator query, then our both condition is wherever our both condition is true, where EMP name is Aman and department is analyst, then it is just showing that data. But whenever we are running this query, and let's change this to also analyst. Okay, analyst. Okay, and you can see here we are getting two rows, where here only one condition is true, then it will just show you the data. Here in OR operator there is no need that both conditions should be true. Here if any one condition is true, then it will fetch the data. Okay, so this is the use for OR operator. And now let's move to our third operator, that is AND OR. Okay, AND OR. Okay, so let's see about this and or. We have seen and we have seen or separately. Now we will see this and or in the combination. Okay, so you can use this and or conditions together as well, and you can use these things as well for with these select, insert or update or delete statements. While combining these conditions, you must be aware that where to use the round brackets, and so that database can understand. Okay, because this query will be some bit complex. Here we are just putting the query very simply, we are just using or operator, but here we will use both operators. Then that will be, we will be aware that where we have to use the parentheses and brackets. Okay, round brackets. Okay, so we can use this thing with also select and select, update, delete and insert. Okay, and so for that we will just simply write the query select asterisk from employee. Okay, and here this time what we will do, we will use the employee id as well. Okay, so let's check the data, and we will just show the data where employee id is greater than 100, and employee name should be Aman, and employee department maybe can be analyst or can be developer. We will put out this condition in or, and we will put out these things. Okay, so select asterisk from employee where, and we will put the condition here. Okay, and condition we will just write and condition here, and we will just close the braces, and we will just use this or condition here, and we will just put out these conditions here. Okay, where employee underscore id, where employee underscore id is greater than 100. Okay, and let's give semicolon. Okay, and we will just write our AND operator query here. Okay, so in the AND operator we will just write this query. Okay, so let's copy from there and let's paste here. Okay, so what it will do, it is just selecting the data from employee table, where employee name should be Aman and employee department should be analyst. Okay, this condition should be true. Okay, then it will just show you the data. Or if this is not true, or employee id is greater than 100, then it will show you the data. So let's execute and let's see. Okay, you can see we got all the data this time. Okay, so here if this condition is not true, then it is just showing that data as well. Okay, so we are having four datas in our table. Okay, four rows. Okay, so let's check the rows first. We are having four rows. Okay, and here we have given the condition that employee id should be greater than 100. If this condition is not true, then this should be true. Okay, if any of the condition is true, then it will just fetch the data from there. Okay, so here this condition is true, so it is just showing that data for Aman and analyst department, and it is just showing the data for employee IDs, where employee id is greater than 100. Okay, you can see employee id is greater than 100 for 101, 102, 103, and whenever you will give here 101 and let's execute, then you can see for 101 it is showing the employee IDs for greater than 101, but it is showing for 101 because this is for this condition. Okay, and whenever you will give here 102, then let's execute, and you can see 101 is still here. Okay, in our fetched query, because this is 101 for this query. Employee name is Aman and employee department is analyst, that's why it is showing this query. Okay, but for this employee id greater than 102, we are getting this Aman as developer, that's why we are getting. Okay, so by this way you can just use the and or operator for fetching the data. Okay, so let's move to our fourth operator. Fourth operator is boolean. Okay, so let's see about the boolean, and then we will see like and in. Okay, and we will try to cover lots of operators in this video, and the rest thing we will see in the part 2 session. Okay, because if we will cover all these operators in one session, then the session will be more bigger. Okay, so boolean is just you can say a simplest data type that basically returning the true or false values. Okay, and it is just used in the combination in the form of yes or no. Okay, and basically let me tell you one most important thing, as our MySQL does not contain any of the built-in boolean or bool data type. Okay, basically it is just providing you one data type, that is a tiny int, instead of that boolean or bool data types. Okay, so basically if you are just giving a 0, so MySQL will understand 0 as false and 1 for true. 1 stands for true. Let's write here. Okay, so let's write here 1 is equals to 1 is equals to true. Okay, and 2 is equals to not 2, sorry, 1 is for true and 0 is for false values. Okay, we will see that thing. Okay, so if you want to use the boolean literals, you can use the true false. That will just evaluate 0 and 1, and 0 is just representing for false, and 1 is just representing for 1 is representing for true. Okay, so if you want to check the behavior as well for the boolean. Okay, so boolean is just for true or false values, true or false. Okay, so if you want to check the behavior, that how our MySQL is just creating these boolean values, because in our MySQL we are not having any specific data type for storing the boolean values. We are not having boolean, bool, or that thing. We are having tiny int data type. Okay, tiny int. Whenever we will just create a table and we will describe that table, then we will see that thing. Okay, then you will better understand this thing. Okay, so for that what we will do, let's select these things. Okay? So if you are just selecting true, and let's write false also. Okay, and let's write this time by in small letters true and false. Okay, and let's put first letter capital. Okay, so whenever we will select this thing, then you can see true for 1, false for 0. And if you are write in small letters, then also 1 for true, 0 for false. And whenever you are using first letter capital, then also it is just telling true for 1 and false for 0. Okay, so these things you have to keep in mind. Okay, so for that let me create a table. Okay, let's copy the metadata from here. Okay, so instead of creating employee table, let's create another table. Let's quickly create a simple table. Create table. Let's create a student table, and let's give id will be just an integer, and let's give name will be just a varchar 20. Okay, and let's give age. Okay, age will be just an integer. Okay, and now let's give pass, whether student is passed in the examination or not. Okay, so pass will be just a boolean value, so we will just give boolean data type here. Okay, so let me close this and let's give the semicolon. Let's get the table. Okay, id is integer, name is varchar, age is integer, pass is a boolean value. So if the student is passed, then it will show true or 1, and if the student is failed in the examination, then it will show 0 or false. Okay, so let's execute, and table is created successfully. And now let's check the data in the table, as obviously table is newly created, so we will be not having any data. Okay, so we are having these columns, and let's refresh the schema and let's check out the table. We got the table. So whenever we will describe the table, then you will understand the behavior for the boolean. Okay, here we have given the boolean data type, but whenever you will describe the table, then it will show the tiny int data type. Okay, you can see for the pass we are having data type as tiny int. Okay, you can see, as I have told you earlier, in MySQL we are not having any of the boolean, bool, or like those data types. So for that we are having tiny int data type for storing the boolean values. Okay, so that's what I need to tell you. Okay, so we have just described the table. So now what we will do, we will insert the data here. Okay, so for inserting the data, we will just write the query insert into student values, and id is 1, name is Aman. Okay, and age is just 18. Okay, and for pass. Okay, so Aman is passed in the examination. Okay, so for that we will just simply pass, we can just simply pass true, or we can pass false. As Aman is passed in the examination, so I will just simply write true. Okay, you can write in caps lock, or you can write in small letters, or you can write first letter capital like this. Okay, we have selected these things, so you can use any things from there. Okay, so I'm just passing true here, and I will just close this and we will see. Okay, so one row affected. Let's check the data and let's see what it is showing. Okay, so it is showing one is just for true. Okay, as I have told you here, one is just for true. Okay, so there is one more thing. This 0 and 1 is representing the integer values for boolean things. Okay, so by default, whenever you will just give any of the values in the boolean data type, means a tiny int data type, then it will just show you the integer values only. Okay, so as here I have written true, so it is just showing here integer value as 1. Okay, because 1 is representing for true and 0 is representing for false. Okay, so I will also tell you that if you want to get here true also, is in place of 1, if you want to get true in this column, pass column, then also I will tell you that how can you get that column. Okay, for that we will just use if condition. Okay, we will see later on. Okay, in this video only we will see later on. Okay, and let's insert one more row here. So let's insert for 2, and let's give the name as Ankit, and let's give this time in small letters. Okay, and let's execute. Okay, and this time small letters will also work. You can see it is passed. Okay, and let's see, give in and insert one more data for Ranjit. Okay, and suppose that Ranjit is failed in the examination. Okay, so I will give just false here, and it will show 0 here in place of 1 1. Okay, because 0 is representing for false, so let's check the data, and you can see it is just representing the 0 integer value. Okay, so it is just showing the integer values here in the table. Okay, whenever we are checking the data. Okay, so by this way you can just use these true and false. Okay, so this is for this thing, because our these true false is just converted into the literals, means 0 and 1. Okay, we are not getting the data here in the table in the form of true or false. Here we are just getting 0 1 0 1, because 0 is representing for false and 1 is representing for true, as they are just using the boolean values. Okay, so suppose that in some cases there is one requirement. Okay, in there is a requirement to get the true here in place of 1. Suppose that you don't want 1 0 1 0, you want true false, so how can you do that? Okay, so before that let me tell you one more thing. So if you want to enter the fourth value as Sid age is 18, and in place of this true or false, we will just give one integer value, and we will see whether it is working or not. Okay, as just MySQL just uses tiny int as boolean. Okay, so we can also insert any integer values into this boolean column. As this is a boolean column, here we have given the boolean data type, right? You can see, so we can insert any boolean values. Okay, suppose that I want to insert 2 here. Okay, so this 2 will also be inserted in the table. Okay, so whenever we will execute this, then also 2 will be executed. Okay, so whenever we will execute this, then also it will work. You can see one row affected, and whenever we will check the data here, you can see we got this 2 here. Okay, so you can insert any integer values in this call boolean data type. Okay, in the boolean data type. Okay, so this is what I need to tell you, so that you can understand all the things. Okay, so now we will see that if you want, in some cases you want true only in place of 0 1 0 1, so how can you just insert truth? Okay, so for that what we will do, we will just simply use if condition here. Okay, so for that we will just write one query here. Select and we will just select all of the columns, select asterisk if pass. Okay, if pass, let's give the correct spelling, pass, and it is pass. For pass we will just give true, and for the fail we will give false, as completed from our table name is student. Okay, so let's execute this. Okay, and you can see now it is just this is the alias name which I have given, so it is just showing true true false true. Okay, So as I have also told you that as MySQL is just dealing all of the zeros, means wherever there is a zero, so it is just taking zero as false, and where there is a non-zero number, non-zero number means 1 2 3 4 5, so it is just taking all non-zero numbers as true. So that's why it has shown for this true as true. Okay, so by this way you can just get these true false in the MySQL tables. Okay, as you can see we have just given this alias name, and we got all these true false in the alias name in the separate column as completed. Okay, so you can see this thing. Okay, so by this way if you want to get the true false, then you can get the true false also. Okay, and you can use the boolean operators as well. Okay, suppose that you can use these boolean things in the where clause as well. Okay, so suppose that you want to check here. Okay, so select asterisk from student, and you want to check the data for those students who are passed in the examination. So you can write here select asterisk from student where pass is equals to true. So it will just show you the those students who are passed in the examination. Okay, you can see these are passed in the examination. Okay, and if some are false, so you can just get for false. Okay, you can Ranjit is failed in the examination, so it is just showing that data. Okay, so you can use these boolean values for just performing some boolean operations as well. Okay, you can use is or is not true like that way. Okay, you can use like this way where is pass is false. Okay, you can use like this way. Okay, so it will show like this way. Okay, and if you will give here pass is true, so it is just showing where pass student is pass, so it is showing like that way. Okay, and you can use is not operator pass is not true, so it will show all the field values. Okay, so you can use those things. Okay, so now we are done with this boolean operator. Now we are left with like operator. Okay, so like is our fifth one, so let's write fifth one, that is like. Okay, so like condition is basically used for pattern matching to find some correct result according to your need. Okay, and it is also used with select, insert, update and delete statement, and you can use this with the where clause. Okay, so you can use this with select, insert, update or delete. Okay, you can use these things. Okay, okay, okay guys, so for the like operator, what we will do, like is basically a condition or you can call operator. Okay, so first of all we will see how can we use the a percent. Okay, using percent. Okay, so let's give the comment here, and let's use that how can we use the percent wildcard. Okay, so for that suppose that there is a requirement and I want to fetch the data for those employees. Okay, let's select the data for our previous table which I was using earlier. Okay, so let's check the data. Okay, so as this is an employee. Okay, so suppose that I want to check the data for those employees where employee address is Lucknow. Okay, so for that we will just use Lucknow percent. Okay, so let's write here query select asterisk from employee where select asterisk from employee where our address is emp address column is there, right? Emp address like, and suppose that where employee address is Lucknow. So if you will give full Lucknow and you are just giving the percent here, then also it will work. Okay, whenever I will execute, so it will show all of those datas from the table where address is Lucknow. Okay, and if you will give this much L, then also it will work. Okay, you can see. Okay, so it is just matching from the starting. Okay, and if you want to match from the end, means last word means W, so you can just use percent W as well. Okay, so whenever you will execute, then also it is just showing this thing Lucknow, because last word is Lucknow here. Okay, last alphabet is W in the Lucknow only. Okay, and rest of the addresses is having EIR. Okay, so like this way you can just fetch the database using like operator. Okay, MP address is W. Percent W means if percent is first and W means last value you are checking, means you are just checking the W in last. Okay, so as in Lucknow we are having W in last, so that's why it is showing the Lucknow only. Okay, so by this way you can use the percent as well. Okay, and you can use the underscore as well. Okay, so let me tell you how can you use the underscore. Okay, if you want to use the underscore, then also you can use the underscore. Okay, under underscore. Okay, so if you want to use the underscore, then let's select this time name. Okay, select asterisk from employee where emp name emp name like let's check the data. Okay, as here we are having Aman. Okay, where emp name like Aman a, suppose that you want to check from starting. So if you will write a na, then it will show all these three employees name 101, 102, 103. Okay, so let's try that thing. Okay, where emp name like, so I want to check for Aman, so I will just write am, and you can just give underscore and you can give like this. Okay, so it will just show you the data for Aman. You can see we got all the Aman. Okay, and you can use underscore like this, means you can just skip some values, some words from the between, some characters from the between. Okay, so you can just skip those things and you can use underscore like this way as well. Okay, and you can use this with not operator as well. So let's see that how can you use this with not operator. So if you want to use this with a not operator, so for that let's write here not operator. Okay, so not operator, you can just select asterisk from employee where address not like Lucknow. Okay, not like L Luck and no W, and we will give just simply percent, and we will just run this. Okay, so if you are just removing this not, then it will show you all of the data where employee name is where address is Lucknow. Okay, okay, let's give emp address, as we are having address column, right? So we are getting Lucknow. Okay, and whenever you will use here not, then it will not show for address for Lucknow, and it will show all of those employees who not belongs to Lucknow, means for they are just belonging to any location except Lucknow. Okay, so you can see here our Lucknow location employees not came here. We got all of the employees who belongs to other locations except Lucknow. Okay, so you can use this with not as well, not operator. Okay, so this is all about this like operator. You can use for percent. If you are just checking for the last character, then you can use percent before, and you can write that character later on. And if you are want in starting, then you can just write like this a percent afterwards. Okay, so this is for our fifth one, that is like. Now we will see in. Okay, so after in we will just end up this session, and the rest of the operators we will see in the second part of the video. Okay, in condition is basically used to reduce the multiple or conditions in select, insert, update statement. Okay, so suppose that for in let's give here, as this is our sixth one, right? Sixth one or seventh? Yeah, it is sixth one. Okay, so for in let's select the data. Okay, select asterisk from employee. Okay, so suppose that what you want to do is you want to fetch the data based on in condition. Okay, so first of all we will see this thing with or operator, then we will see that what is the difference between these things. Okay, so we will simply write the query select asterisk from employee, select asterisk from employee where emp name, suppose that I am just putting the conditions or emp name. Okay, so what names I am having? We are having Aman, Ranjit and Anu. Okay, so I want to fetch the data for Aman and Anu. Okay, Aman and Anu, so we will just simply write where emp name is Aman. Okay, emp name is Aman, or emp name can be, or emp name can be, or MP name can be Anu. Okay, and suppose that you want to get for or MP name Ranjit, or MP name Ranjit. So you will write the query like this way. Okay, MP name is equals to Ranjit. Okay, so this is the thing which we are just getting with or operator, means we have to write the full query. Okay, so whenever you will execute this query, then if any of the condition is true, then it will just show you the data. Okay, so it will show you the data for Aman as well, Anu as well, and Ranjit as well. Okay, so let's execute, and you can see we got all of the data: Ranjit, Aman, Anu. Okay, we got all of the data. Okay, so to reduce this much of code, as here we have to write lots of code. Okay, as here suppose we are just having we are just checking for three names only. Okay, because we are just doing dummy things. Okay, and suppose that there are suppose that 10 names, so you have to write like this way, where MP name like Ankit, Aman, Anuj. Okay, you have to write lots of names here by using this or operator. Okay, so reduce the number of codes. Okay, number of lines of code, we this in operator came into the picture. Okay, so the same thing, this much of thing, how can we do with the or operator? Okay, how can we do the same thing with the in operator? Okay, so for that we will just simply write select asterisk from employee, and we will just simply put the where clause, where emp name, where emp name, and we will just simply use in operator where emp name is. We will just simply write Aman, Anu. Okay, Aman, Anu, and Ranjit. Okay, so it will show you the same output. Okay, you can see where MP name is Aman, Anu, and Ranjit. Okay, and in the similar way, you can just simply put the comma and you can write the names. Okay, if you are needing any other names. Okay, so this is the use of in operator. Okay, so both are just producing the same results. Okay, so in the in condition is basically preferred over the or condition, because it has a number of lines of codes are minimum here. Okay, in the or in operator if you are using, but if you are using that or operator, then maximum number of lines will be there. Okay, there are chances for maximum number of lines, and there must be chances for errors as well. Okay, so mostly we are preferring this in operator. Okay. Okay, and you can use let's take one more example. Okay, where emp name, let's write here emp id in. Suppose that you want to check the data for 102 and 104 MPID, so you can also check like this way. Okay, as okay, what it is saying MP. Okay, I think I'm not having MPID 101 and 102. So you can see we are having 101 and 102. Okay, as I think I'm not having 104 MPID in the table. Okay, so let's check for 104 is I am having 104 employee ID or not. Okay. Okay, okay, we are not having 104. Okay, that's why earlier was shown error. Okay, so emp, so you can use in operator like this way as well. I suppose that in the employee table you are having 10 million records. Okay, and you want to check the data for any particular employee IDs. Okay, so you can use in operator in that case. That will be very helpful. Okay, so in this way you can use the in operator. Okay, so that's all for today's session. In operator we have seen all the 6 operators. We have seen and we have seen and or in the pair, and we have seen boolean like in, and these 6 we have done, and rest we will do in this part 2 video. So the link for the part 2 will be given in the description box. You can watch part 2 of these conditional operators from the description box. So that's all for today. If you're facing any type of doubt, then you can ask me. Meet you in the part 2 video.